Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TradeStation Masterclass. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm in the Client Training and Education Department here at TradeStation, and we want to make the TradeStation platforms as easy to use as possible. So thank you for being here. This is, as I said at the very beginning, the TradeStation Masterclass. We dive deeper into TradeStation's technology to make sure that you're using the features to the maximum potential, especially, when we start getting into topics that are designed to be custom, like today's topic, custom OCO and OSO orders. So yeah, this topic can go in any possible direction depending on what your requirements are. We're going to go through a series of examples so you see how the functionality works. You can also use this opportunity to maybe suggest a type of order that you haven't been able to figure out, and we can work on it here together. So whatever it is, it's going to be an interesting class that showcases some of this functionality available on the TradeStation platform. So let's go ahead and go through some of the disclosures before we get started on today's topic. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, that active trading is not suitable for everyone. It should only be done with the risk capital. And of course, if you're trading products that are a little bit more risky, like options and futures, we should all be aware of the risks that are associated with trading those products. Past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. And for additional information on these disclosures, please go to our website, www.tradestation.com, and you'll find all the disclosure information there. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I don't have any information here in the PowerPoint. I don't have anything to distribute in today's class because it's more like a hands-on. Let's go to the platform. Let's see what this functionality is all about. So let's go here to my TradeStation platform. And let me just open up a chart. I like opening up a chart because the chart will display all the different orders we're placing, especially if we're having or creating some more intricate types of orders that have targets and stops and different conditional orders. We'll be able to see them all right here in a chart. Okay. Yeah, I see your comment there, Eddie. So I guess you cannot hear me. Yeah, if somebody, Michael says that he can hear me, so I'm sure that I'm, transmitting sound. So if somebody can suggest that Eddie maybe refreshes the browser, that would be great. Yeah, sound here and video comes through the internet. And for any issues related to sound or video, the best thing that we can all do, if you're ever, experiencing difficulties, is to refresh the browser so that it reloads on the screen. Okay, let's go and first of all, let's talk about a specific scenario where a custom order would be a great option. So let me set up a trade here and show you how chart trading would allow you to set up a trade. I'm gonna switch my chart here to something that I can trade. Let's say that we want to trade, well, Twitter. I already have a position on Twitter, so let me go here to Home Depot. All right, I don't have a position on Home Depot. Let me bring up a daily chart. All right, we can see that there's been a significant drop in price in Home Depot since the beginning of the year. Okay, at the beginning of the year, Home Depot was trading at 415. It is currently trading at 383. So we're talking about a 30-point drop for Home Depot. Now that we're here to analyze Home Depot or where it's headed, but I'm just setting up the stage for the type of order that I'm going to submit. Okay, so maybe I think this is just a hypothetical. Maybe I think that Home Depot is reached a price that I want to get in at, $385, and maybe I'm going to shoot for Home Depot to reach those levels again. Maybe not as high as it was trading at the beginning of the year, but maybe, last week when it was trading at $400. So let's say, for example, we get in at 385, then we want to get out at 400, and we put in a stop loss at about 380. It hasn't been at 380 since, back in November of last year. It kind of dropped to that level December 20th, but it didn't quite reach the 380 mark. So that's what I'm going to pick as my stop loss. 5-point loss, and I'm targeting a 15-point gain. Now, if I want to set that trade right here using chart trading, I can, because chart trading is a type of tool that allows you to do a profit target and a stop loss. The only problem with the OCO functionality here in chart trading is that it works based on price offsets. Let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to go here to the drop down of OCO. Thank you, Michael, for suggesting that right there in the chat. And in the drop down, I think I've complained about this before. My font here in chart trading is a little bit small. Once we go over to the custom dialog or the custom OCO dialog, we should have a better size. But if I were to choose, well, not here because I'm in the wrong place either way. So I'm going to go up here where it says attach OSO, because if you guys remember what I said at the beginning of the presentation, I wanted to get in at 385. And at that point, I want to set my profit target on my stop loss. So it's a combination of two different types. It's a combination of entry and exit. I enter at 385, and then I'd exit at 400 and also 380, depending on which direction the price goes. So I'm going to go here and check the attach OSO, but I'm going to select an exit bracket. In fact, the very first one that was loaded up here, the one that shows up there by default, it's a simple bracket with a limit and a stop. If I go over here and I click on the ellipsis, you do have to go here to this little button to customize this order that you're about to place. You can see that you have price offsets. So technically, if I'm saying that I want to get out at $400 with a profit target, in here, I have no way of entering that price that I want to target. I cannot put in 400 in here. I mean, I could, but it'd be totally wrong from what I explained earlier. I would be $400 target, which is not correct here. So technically, yes, you can input any number in here, but this works in the sense of a price offset. So you do have to keep in mind, how far away is your profit target from your entry price? That's exactly how this works. So I know that these are very even numbers and it's very easy to calculate. If I get in at 385 and I'm trying to target 400, we're just talking about 15 points. So here, the price offset for my limit order is going to be 15. And for the stop, we said that we wanted to get stopped at $380, which would be about $5 away from my entry price. I'm going to put in a 5 here for the stop. So yes, it does require you to think in terms of offsets and how far away is your profit target and your stop loss from your entry price. If I put in my information there and I click OK, and then I'm going to hold on my control key, click, and bring down to 385. Let's see if I'm able to drop it right at 385. If I'm not, I can always adjust it. That's my entry. I missed it by 1 penny. And for that reason, my target is 1 penny away from 400 and 1 penny away from 380. But I can right click on that blue order, and then I can adjust the price to 385, replace the order. And now the order looks exactly the way that I want it. But you can see that I did have to understand that the amount of my profit target and my stop loss were determined by offsets. And one was 15, the other was 5, and that turns into the prices that I want. Sometimes it may not be as easy to calculate because sometimes you're not going to be dealing with even numbers. So sometimes it is convenient for you to be able to type in a number. Let me show you how to create this same order, but have the flexibility of entering a actual price. So let me go ahead and cancel all. And what I'm going to do, instead of using the chart trading tool here on the right-hand side, I'm going to go here to the trade bar at the top. I'm going to click on OCO, OSO, and then scroll down to where it says custom OCO OSO order. By the way, this is the only way that you can access custom OCOs. So remember how I'm accessing them. I have to go to the trade bar, which is at the top of the TradeStation platform, and then bring my cursor down to custom OCO OSO. When you click there, you're going to get a dialog with 3 different options. The top one is an OCO order, which is not what we want. Remember that we said that at the very beginning when we were doing chart trading. I wanted an OSO because I have an entry and I have exits that are contingent on that entry. So we need an OSO, which is an order sent order. You have primary orders that are going to be sending, secondary, and third level order. So that's what I'm choosing here, the very third radio button that says OSO order. I click OK. And yes, this type of dialogue seems a little bit more intricate. So if you are sending orders that is just a simple target and a simple stop, maybe doing it here on the trade bar may be a little bit easier and more straightforward than coming here and into the custom OCO. I would suggest that you try them both ways and just choose the one that you feel more comfortable with. There's one of them that's going to give you a little bit more confidence, and that's the one that you should choose. So I'm not going to tell you which one's better because it all depends on taste and how easy you think the tool is. I know that some people have a challenge when they see this type of dialogue because there's a lot more information in them. I tend to like, the technicality of the custom OCO because I have a little bit more flexibility and more options. But if you're looking for simplicity, maybe the OSO template that we selected earlier, maybe that's the way that you want to go. So here, I'm not going to be so concerned about staging this order. Notice at the very top, there is a field that asks you for a stage name. If your intention is just to create one single order and not use it again, then don't worry about that box at the top. Now, if you are wanting to create an order that you feel like you're going to be reusing over and over again, maybe it's going to be a time saver to save it as a staged order, and that will give you some a little bit more flexibility when sending the new one. Okay. Here I'm just going to do Home Depot for the symbol. I'm going to hit enter. This is a buy order, and I didn't check the quantity here on the trade bar. So the order that I submitted earlier on chart trading was for 500 shares. This can be the same thing. I'm just showing you that here you're going to have that flexibility of entering the direct or the exact price. So I'm going to buy with a stop market. I'm going to buy at 385. Do you guys know why I'm choosing stop market? I'm choosing a stop market because I'm buying at a price that is higher than the current trading price. The current trading price is 384.26. So whenever you want to buy at a price that is higher than the current price, which sometimes may be contradictory, but maybe what you're waiting for is for the price to break through a certain level, expecting for the price to continue to go in that same direction. So yes, sometimes you may want to buy at a higher price. So in order to do that, you have to send a buy stop market order so that you're waiting, or the 385, the price that you want, acts as a trigger. So once it reaches 385, then it'll be a market order to get you in at whatever price it can find. Okay, so from here, I'm going to click back on the symbol. I always like to do that. Sometimes it's not necessary, as long as the highlight is on the same row. But I just get into this habit of clicking back on the symbol so that I know that the next order that I'm adding, it's directly linked to that one that I'm clicking on. So I click on the main symbol HD, and then I attach a single order. You can add a bracket if you want. Since this is just a simple bracket will save you some time. If you add a single order, yes, you can do a single order and then another single order and then group them as an OCO. We're going to show that to you in a little moment. But here, I'm just going to add a bracket that allows me to select the number of targets and the number of stops. For Home Depot, 500 shares, I'm just gonna choose one target, one stop. I'm gonna click OK, and it adds it right here to my screen. And all I need to do is enter the prices here. My limit order will be at 400, and my stop will be at 380. Does that make sense? Notice how easy it is for me to just go inside the cell and type in a price instead of having to work with offsets. Again, it's a personal preference. If you think that offsets are okay and you can put in and calculate the offset on the fly, it's great, up to you. But if you have some very defined levels at which you want the orders to be triggered at or filled at, then maybe entering those levels directly into the field may be something that you appreciate. And remember that that is only possible if you go into the custom OCO OSO dialog. Okay. Eddie says, I use the same offsets for all OSO orders and then adjust immediately after order entry using chart rating, which is great. That's also something that's doable. And thank you, Eddie, for sharing how you're using the tool. I sometimes do that too. And sometimes I suggest that people do that as well. If it's something as simple as sending a profit target and a stop loss, what Eddie is, by the way, Eddie, when you're, okay, so he sent it to me directly. So yes, what you can do is, I was reading the comment here from the chat thinking that he had shared it with everyone and he just shared it with me. But it's also something that you can do. I mean, you can submit the orders and then adjust them and drag them to the level that you want them to be at. Okay, so let me go ahead and submit this trade. I'm just going to send it. And here we go. You can see that it's exactly the way that it was before, but now we did go through a dialogue that allowed us some flexibility, that allowed us some manual, setup. From the trade manager, let me show you something really cool. From the trade manager, I'm going to go to apps and click on trade manager. When you submit a trade like that, which is right here at the very top of my trade manager, the gray order to buy 500 shares at 385, that's my main entry. And then the following two, which have a dark background, those two are queued because they're just contingent. They're waiting for the primary to get filled. But if I right click on the one that is active, I can copy the trade bar. So I can click here and then I can have that same setup again inside the dialog, and I don't have to recreate it from scratch. Maybe if you want to do a similar order on a different symbol, here is just a matter of going into the symbol box and changing the symbol if that's what you want to do. All right, perfect. So what else can you do with a custom OCO? Well, you can create all sorts of setups that that open up so many different possibilities. So whatever type of order you're thinking of, contingent order, conditional order, the OCO functionality can probably create it for you. One of the things that we haven't yet implemented into the OCO dialog is to, create some technical exits. Like if you want to do an exit on a moving average cross, or if you want to do an exit based on an RSI value, we still don't have that capability of fixing these or mixing these things together. If you do want to have some technical exits or based on technical ideas, you probably need to do it with a strategy. All right. Perfect. I'm just turning my heater down. It's getting kind of steamy in here. Okay, so setup. Let's suppose that you're setting an order. And I mean, it can be this same one, Home Depot. We buy at 385. The target is 400, and the stop loss is 380. And we're buying 500 shares. Now, 500 shares can be a big order if you consider that Home Depot is trading at $384. In fact, if I go back here to the chart, and I don't have confirmations turned on, But if I bring up my calculator and I say, okay, 500 shares times 384, this is a trade that costs $192,000. Okay, that's a hefty trade, right? Okay, 192,000. Let me do that again. 500 times 384. Yeah, $192,000. Let's suppose that your account size is only $50,000. So you're going to be tapping on some margin in order to trade 500 shares of Home Depot. If you're trading on margin, you may not want to keep that position open overnight, because if you do keep a position that's worth $192,000 overnight, you're going to get a margin call because you only get twice your cash balance. So if you have a $50,000 account, all you get overnight is double that, which is 100,000. You get 4 to 1 during the day. So yes, you're barely reaching that maximum of margin, which is the trade of $192,000. But for that reason, if you're tapping into your margin and you're making sure that you have no open positions at the end of the day, we can set up what's called a multi-exit order, in the sense that I just got filled on a 385 order, okay, in which you can have 3 different scenarios. You have your profit target, so if it reaches 400, you're good, you're set to go, it takes you out. You have your P&L right here. If you're trading 500 shares and Home Depot doesn't go to 400, that's about $7,400 in profit. If it goes against you and it moves $5, you have about, almost $2,500 in loss. But if it doesn't reach the target and if it doesn't reach the stop, maybe you need a mechanism to get out at a specific time. Because if you don't want to keep the position open overnight, you need to get out before the market closes. And we can do that with a time-activated order. So yes, we're talking about a trade that has 3 different exits. It has a profit target, it has a stop loss, and it has the time-activated order. How do you do that type of order? You need a custom OCO. Right here within the TradeStation templates inside of chart trading or inside of Matrix, whatever order entry tool you're using. In the templates, there's no template that has 3 different exits. It may have 3 different exits, but different than the one that I just explained. In order for you to do the order that we just described, you have to go into the custom OCO OSO. Let's go ahead and create it here for everyone. I'm going to cancel my active orders and I'm going to close my trade, because I'm going to do something similar with Home Depot, but this time I'm going to get in at 386 or 387 because the market activity is already at 385. Well, I'm going to do 385, but I'll do it as a limit order instead of a stop order. So I can do that as well. So what I do is I go here to trade and I go to OCO OSO. So let me go here and go to custom OCO OSO. Again, this is an order that has entries and exits attached to each other. So I'm going to choose the third one, which is OSO. For this order, I can give it a name. So I'm going to give it a name that says entry join. I'll explain what join is in a moment. Target, stop, time exit. Okay, so I know that it has an entry at join, a target, a stop, and a time exit. So I'm going to do here Home Depot, HD. Okay, I'm still going to buy at 500 shares. It's going to be a limit order. I said at the beginning I may want to buy it at 186, 185. But here I'm going to do something really cool. I'm going to go to the limit drop down and I'm going to select join. What does that mean? It means that at the time that you submit that trade, it's going to look at the bid and ask, and it's going to join the best bid and get you that price, or try to get you that price. Sometimes when you have these limit orders, the limit orders may just sit there and not get you filled at all. If you want to be a little bit lower than the current bid, let's say that you want to do maybe 5 cents or 10 cents below the current bid, one thing that you can do is select this option that says shave. Shave will take the asking price, not the bid, the asking price, and shave whatever amount you put in here. So if I want to do 10 cents, considering that Home Depot is already trading at a high price of $385, that you can do. I'm going to use a shave instead of a join. So I'm going to change the name here to shave. And I know that it's always going to shave an amount from the asking price, and you'll be a little bit lower than what the current price is. All right, let's go here back to, I'm going to click back on the symbol, and I'm going to attach a single order. Whenever I have a scenario already in mind as to what I want the order to do, I know from the very beginning how many exit orders I need. And if you guys remember our conversation, what I needed was I needed a profit target, I needed a stop loss, and I needed a TAM activation rule. So I need 3 different orders. And I will not just click on attach single order 3 times, because that's not the setup that I want to create. If you look at the symbols right here at the very top, each one of them is indented more to the right-hand side. So it creates a multi-level or a multi-contingency between one order and the next, which is not the type of setup that I want right now. What I want is for the 3 orders to be contingent on just one. And this type of indentation just makes one attached to the other. So the very last one, or the 4th row, is contingent on the one prior to that. That 3rd row is contingent on the one above that, and so on, which is not the behavior that I want. I want the 3 orders to have the same prominence, and I want the 3 orders to be active as soon as the primary gets filled. So I'm going to remove all the symbols that I added here. Okay, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the symbol, attach a single order. I'm going to click back on the same symbol and attach another order. Then click back on the same symbol and attach a 3rd order. Now take a look at the indentation of those 3 orders. They are exactly at the same level. If you look from left to right, which means that they're all prominent and active at the same time. Once I add all the orders, I can group them in an OCO, which is an important step, because you want to make sure that whichever one order gets filled, it cancels the remaining. So the way for you to enable or combine those into an OCO is by highlighting them. And a highlight of those orders is very simple. Just click on the top symbol, drag down, and it's going to create kind of an outline around the symbols. Hard to see, but if you do it multiple times, you're going to get the hang of it. So I just did. I'm going to right click and then group the 3 rows as an OCO, meaning that anything that is below this yellow box that says OCO will have the same importance when it comes to activation, and whichever order gets filled first, it'll cancel the other 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and set those orders details. First of all, they're all selling transactions. So all 3 are selling transactions. They're all for 300. Let's start off with the profit target. My limit, it's going to be, I can enter the price directly in here. I can say my limit is going to be 400. My second row is going to be a stop market, and my stop is going to be 385. And then this last one, the 3rd one, is going to be a selling transaction for 500, but it's going to be a market order. Why a market order? Because this is going to be time activated. It's 1 p.m. Eastern time as we speak, but I don't know what the price of Home Depot is going to be at a closer time to the closing time. So I'm going to use a market order, and the market order will have an activation rule. So with that order highlighted, you can be here on the market type, or you can be right here on the symbol. As long as something in that row is highlighted, I can click on the activation rule checkbox right here at the bottom and click on the ellipsis. From here, I can say, I want you to activate this market order at 3:58 p.m. 2 minutes before the market close. I want that order to be activated and get me out of the trade immediately. I'm gonna click OK, and there we go. Now we have an order that has 3 possible exit scenarios: profit target, stop loss, or a market exit with a time activation. By the way, the time criteria or any activation criteria is going to be under advanced. You can see that the very last row has an activation time of 3:58 p.m. Be aware of the time here. Any times that you use, if I go back here to the settings, all the times here are going to be your local time. So this is based on your computer clock. That's what TradeStation uses. So make sure that when you think of time, you're not thinking about the exchange time. You're thinking about your local time. I know that I'm in Texas, so this would be incorrect if this computer was set up on Central Time. My computer, even though I am on Central Time, my computer is set to Eastern Time. So when I said 3:58 right here, it's going to be Eastern Time, which Eastern Time matches whatever the exchange time is. But that's the reason why I have 3:58 and not 2:58, which is my real, local time. But be aware of that. That's going to be your local time, whatever your clock says. And I'm just going to click OK. So once I have that set up, I'm just going to click on stage or send in stage order. You want to send it if it's time to send it. And you also want to stage it so that you can use it later. Staging, it's a great way for you to create your own templates. Maybe not as easy as the templates you would use in the matrix, because once you go to edit them, you're gonna have to change the prices and change the symbols, but it's something that saves you some time. Let me go ahead and send in stage. And you can see the order right here. Now the orders are queued. The only one that is in color is the I may have messed up something. Let me go ahead and cancel all. And let me go back into the order to see what did I miss. I'm going to go back here to trade. I'm going to go to the stage button. And I'm going to, let me click on this very last option that says display all staged orders. Because when you do that, it'll open up the trade manager for you to be able to, edit the order. And I can see it right here at the very top. This is the entry shave, target, stop, time exit. So I'm going to right click where I see that order. I'm going to click on customize at TradeStation trade bar. This will open up my setup. And yeah, the stop market 385. So that's fine. I thought I had forgotten to set the price of the stop market, but it is fine. I'm going to send the orders because I already staged it and I don't have to stage it again. I'm going to send the order and then go back to the chart and see what it looks like. What I don't see, I see what the problem is. I set my stop to 385, which is why it's kind of covered here with my entry orders. Let me cancel all because that's not the price that I really wanted. Let me go here to my trade manager. Right click on my Home Depot order. I'm going to say customize the TradeStation trade bar. And what I want is a stop of $380. There we go. I'm going to send the orders. Go back to the chart and there we go. So the order looks very similar. There is going to be a stop market order that is tied in with all this setup. If I go back to my trade manager and I go to the orders tab, you can see that in addition to having the primary order that's trying to get filled at 385.16, by the way, look at the price here, 385.16. This is 10 cents below the asking price. That's why it's still active. So this actually calculated my entry price at the time that I sent the order. It looked at the asking price and I set my limit order at 10 cents below. In addition to having that active order, I have my 3 exits. One, the target, that's right. You have the $400 target, not the $400 target, the target at 400. You have the stop at 380 right here. And then you have a plain old market order that is not filled because you have an activation rule linked to it. I want to scroll to the right-hand side, and under the advanced column, that's where you see that information. And you can see that the time activation right there is 3:58 p.m. Does that make sense? So you can create all sorts of setups. You know, this is only 3 different exits. You can have 4 or 5 different exits at different levels if that's what you want to do. Remember that all these exits are connected in an OCO that stands for order cancels order. So if one of the order gets filled, then the remaining get canceled, which is very convenient. So you can have, you know, different behaviors at different levels if that's what you want. You know, you have 500 shares. Maybe if it goes to a certain price, you exit 100, another price, another 100. So you can create these types of setups that scale out. They can scale in and scale out at all different levels of the market. Are there any questions? Or are there any orders that you guys may have wanted to enter when using TradeStation and just had difficulties doing it? You know, I'd be interested to know what your impression is of this functionality. As I said at the beginning, staging was designed to give you a little bit more. Oh, I just got filled and it activated my 3 exits. Okay. Got filled at 385.15. The whole staging process was designed to make it easier for you to duplicate orders. Let's say, for example, that I want to do a similar order for Johnson & Johnson. J&J trading at 172. Let me look at the prices here. So Johnson & Johnson traded at 175 back here. That was September of last year. It's been, you know, it was below 170 for the majority of the, you know, the end of last year. It wasn't until December that it actually broke the 170 mark. It's kind of stayed right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send an entry at 170. Maybe do a target. You know, my Johnson & Johnson didn't quite reach the 180 mark. So I'm going to get in at 170. I'm going to get out at 175 for a target. And I'm going to get out at 168 for my stop loss, 168. You know, I can go here to the trade manager, right click on my order. I can go, let's go to the stage orders instead. Because I mean, I showed you how to copy from the list of orders. You can copy and then copy to trade bar. And it's a quick way for you to copy the order. But staging is going to keep that order in place until you actually delete it. So you can come in, you know, days later when the history of order just disappears. You'd have to, you know, manually look for the order to find it. You can always come here to the staged orders tab, right click on the one for Home Depot, and then say customize at TradeStation trade bar. So from here, I can change the symbols if I want to. J&J. Let me do, I can add the letters because these are specific to a ticker. And then click on the cells here and enter the actual symbol for Johnson & Johnson. I can still do 500 if I want to. I can change the quantity if I want to. This is a shave 1 penny. I can go back to my 10 cents, right? 10 cents. And then I can set my target and my stop. I did say that I wanted a target at 175. Did we say 175? Yeah. And then the stop is at 168. And I can still have the activation at 3:58 p.m. Let me place this order. We're standing in stage order. Now, if I go back to the chart, that's right here. Now you have an entry very close to where the trading price is. You have a target and you have a stop loss in place. And you didn't have to do much. Notice that now, if I go back to my staged orders, I have the same entry shave, but I have it for Johnson & Johnson because I added the prefix J&J. And you can do that for all the symbols that you're trading. And if you haven't decided which symbols you're going to be trading, you can always keep a list somewhere. But it does require you to go in there and change the symbol if you want to apply the template to a different market. All right. Question from Peter. What if the market suddenly gaps down or up? Is there any element of risk? Yeah, I mean, all these orders will respond to the gaps, how they were created. So let's say, for example, we're looking at, here's Johnson & Johnson. Let's say, for example, there is a gap up. This is a daily chart. So all of a sudden, the price jumps to 176. Well, if the price jumps to 176, then we're not getting filled. Remember we just got filled, by the way. Our limit price was 172.68. We got filled right here because the price dropped. But on a gap up, our order doesn't get filled. If the price gaps down, let's say that it gaps down to 166, very low, gaps down to 166. What's the behavior? Well, you're going to get in because you have a limit price of 172. And if it gaps down to 166, that's a better price. It gets you in down here. But in this case, the profit target remains, but the stop loss would be rejected because your stop loss is higher than what the current price is. So you do have to be aware of where orders are when the market gaps because you may have some unexpected behavior. And that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so yes, there is risk when the market gaps up or gaps down, and everybody has to just be very, have your eyes very open when the market does that. I know sometimes it's hard, especially if you have to walk away from your computer. It's hard to keep track of these gaps when they happen in the morning. Okay. And that's it. We went through a couple of examples of custom OCOs. I wanted to give you a few more, but because of time, we don't have the time. However, this is what I want you guys to do. Tomorrow, we have our usual Ask the Experts at 11:30 Eastern time. That's in the morning. If you can think of any order scenario that you haven't been able to create, and this can be, scaling in, scaling out, whatever the scenario is, then come back tomorrow and ask the experts and we'll work on it together. And that way we can make a trade station behave the way you want. And this is especially true if you want to manage your position by scaling in and scaling out depending on how the price is moving up or down. So those are the very intricate types of orders, but it does allow you to manage your risk a little bit better, because you may be in a position, if it goes in your favor, you may want to scale in. And in terms of exits, you have multiple exit scenarios. Some of them are conservative. So if it moves against you or in your favor a little bit, you're willing to, get out for a part of your position and to capture some of that money or lose a little bit, but not lose for everything, just that chunk that you're exiting. But then you have all these different levels that your order can exit at, which I think it's gonna be it's a very flexible order. So if you can think of anything like that, please join me tomorrow during the Ask the Experts, and I'll make sure to help you with that type of order. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This is the masterclass. I wanted to give you a little bit of custom OCOs, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Again, we don't have any other sessions for today, but tomorrow we have the 11:30 Ask the TradeStation Experts, and we have we have David Russell at 11:30 at 12:30 tomorrow. I'm getting my information mixed up here. 12:30 Eastern Time, masterclass with David Russell, where he shares his market insights with us. If you haven't heard his presentations, they're very cool. He shares a lot of custom studies that he creates himself. So the workspaces are also shared with the class. So make sure that you join us tomorrow if you haven't joined one of his sessions. Thank you guys for your time, and I hope to see you in a future class. Goodbye, everyone. Talk to you later.